What's up everyone, welcome back to another video as always. My name is Orlando Martel and this is Martel Dynamics. Today we're trying out this new angle to record because here you can actually see me reading. So today we're gonna read chapter 9 at the sign of the prancing pony. Last time we end up where basically Tom Bombadillo told Frodo that 4 miles from where they were, they were going to find some hotel, some inn or something where they could find help or where they could just, rest for some time. The last 2 chapters, as you guys have seen, were confusing to me because everything about Tom is confusing. I mean, regarding Tom, one can question the fact that if he's so powerful inside the perimeters of his land, and the only thing that Frodo is doing at the moment that I know is just escaping the Black Riders, why didn't he just stay with Tom? The point of leaving the Shire was to just go somewhere where they didn't find him. So what are they doing? Are they just walking until they get him? Because if it were me, I would stay in Tom's house. Of course, I don't know if that would be possible because, you're just a visitor and, you don't want to intrude that much. But I would just stay near Tom Bombadil's, land. Because if Tom Bombadil is almost God inside that land, maybe he could, beat the out of the dark figure, the Dark Lord or whatever. Maybe they could go head to head, and probably Tom would win. I mean, I don't know what powers does the Dark Lord has, but Tom seems like pretty godly, you know what I mean? So whatever, without further ado, let's start reading this chapter. Let's go. Okay, so the chapter begins by j.r.r. Tolkien explaining what Bree was, the Bree land. It says Bree was the chief village of Breeland, a small inhabited region like an island in the empty lands round about. And then he goes on to explain the actual Bree lands. He takes like 2 pages to explain the relationship between the hobbits of Breeland and the hobbits of the Shire, because there are like a mix of species in Breeland or in Bree. There are the big people, there are men, there are hobbits, and there are elves, I think. The author explains how the hobbits of Bree are actually connected or family of the hobbits in the Shire, but they are so far away from each other that they basically have no communication now. They claim, the hobbits of Bree, that they are the first settlement of hobbits way before the hobbits settled in the Shire. They kind of claim they are the original hobbits. So after Tolkien explains this relationship between these 2 hobbit families or whatever, we go back to Frodo. So these hobbits went to this city or whatever, right? The village. They came into the gate of where the hotel was supposed to be, right? They encountered this man. I don't know if the gatekeeper was one of the big people or whatever. He began to question them, right? Obviously because he didn't know who they were, and they are not used to see Shire hobbits in those parts of the land. And not even mention that they were at night. It was almost midnight, I think. It was very late. So he begins to ask them questions like, what are your names and what are your business here? What is your business here? And of course the hobbits were suspicious because they're being followed. They don't know who's asking them questions, Long story short, he let them pass, but a concerning point is that as soon as the gatekeeper went into his house, a dark figure or something is mentioned that climbed over the fence, concealed itself in the shadows, in the darkness. Which, I don't know if to say that something it's about to go down, because I thought that was the case with the monster of the last chapter, but whatever. So they met this character named Barleyman Butterbur. I think he's the owner or the manager of the Prancing Pony Inn. So I just left where they are asking for 4 beds and a stable for the ponies, right? "Good evening, little master," he said, bending down. "What may you be wanting?" asked Butterbur. Frodo says, "Beds for 4 and stabling for 5 ponies, if it can be managed. Are you Mr. Butterbur?" "That's right. Barleyman is my name. Barleyman Butterbur, at your service." "You're from the Shire, eh?" he said, and he suddenly clapped his hands in his forehead as if trying to remember something. "Hobbits," he cried. "Now what does that remind me of?" "May I ask your names, sir?" "Mr. Took and Mr. Brandybuck," said Frodo. "And this is Sam Gamgee. My name is Underhill," which I think that Underhill is a stupid pseudonym. I mean, you come from Hobbiton, you were with Frodo under the hill, Mr. Underhill. I mean, couldn't you name yourself Mr. whatever, Mr. Sky? That would be very different. I mean, you're just giving another reference for the people that are following you to just think of. So that's where I left off. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, so a few things are interesting here. So we left off where they were giving them the beds and everything. It is an amazing hotel, whatever it is. They gave them food, they gave them drinks, beer. It was the best beer they ever had. It was the best food. And after they were just full, Butterbur told them that after they ate, they could go into the room where the company was, whoever the company is. I guess it was the other people that were staying in the hotel, so they could talk and have a good time. After they ate, they went to talk with the whole of the people that were in the company in that room. At this point, it has been a long time since they were surrounded by so many people and so many, just different cultures and hobbits and whatever, big people. Pippin found out that he was drawing a lot of attention telling old stories from the Shire and things that happened in the Shire. He was gathering a lot of attention and he was having a great time. But Frodo wasn't as good with the talking part. And it got interesting when he noticed, and I'll read it to you. He noticed a strange-looking, weather-beaten man sitting in the shadows near the wall, was also listening intently to the hobbit talk. He had a tall tankard in front of him and was smoking a long steamed pipe curiously carved. His legs were stretched out before him, showing high boots of supple leather that fitted him well, but had seen much wear and were now caked with mud. A travel-stained cloak of heavy dark green cloth was drawn close about him, and in spite of the heat of the room, he wore a hood that overshadowed his face, but the gleam of his eyes could be seen as he watched the hobbits. So Frodo asked who this man was, right? And Butterbur just told him that he's one of the Rangers. I don't know what the Rangers are. I'll read to you exactly what Butterbur says. "I don't rightly know. He is one of the wandering folk, Rangers we call them. He seldom talks, not but what he can tell a rare tale when he has the mind. He disappears for a month or a year, and then he pops up again. He was in and out pretty often last spring, but I haven't seen him about lately. What his right name is, I've never heard, but he's known round here as Strider." At first I thought it was Gandalf because he's smoking a pipe, and the one thing I know about Gandalf is that people associate him with a pipe always as Tolkien. I mean, I don't know if I'm associating the two things correctly, but now I don't think it's Gandalf because Frodo talked to him and just wanted to know who he was and make conversation. If it were Gandalf, Frodo would have noticed the tone of his voice, that it was Gandalf, but he didn't. So apparently he's someone else. This Strider character basically told Bilbo, "Look, your friend is talking too much. I don't know who you are, but your friend is basically talking more than he should." He says, "If I were you, I should stop your young friends from talking too much. Drink, fire, enchant meeting are pleasant enough, but, well, this isn't the Shire. There are queer folk about. Though I said it as shouldn't, you may think, he added in a wry smile, seeing Frodo's glance. And there hath been even stranger travelers through Bree lately. And he went on, washing Frodo's face. So I left off where Frodo was just getting more annoyed because now Pippin was so excited with all the attention that he was getting that he was now telling the story of when Bilbo disappeared. And Frodo is thinking, look, if this guy keeps talking, he may as well get to the ring part. You know what I mean? So I left off at the part where Strider tells Frodo, you had better do something quick in his ear. And Frodo just jumped up and stood in the table and began talking about something. That's where I left off. So I'll continue. Man, I just finished the chapter. So much happened in 2 pages. Frodo tried to get the attention of everyone, right? He stood up and he was very nervous and he tried saying something like, we're all very much gratified by the kindness of your reception, and I ventured to hope that my brief visit will help to renew the old ties of friendship between the Shire and Bree. And then everyone in the room started saying, a song, a song. Come on now, master, sing us something that we haven't heard before. Frodo begins to sing this song that Bilbo had been fond of, and it was of an inn. I'm not gonna read the song because, as per usual with these songs, they don't make sense to me personally. If it's a really important song, tell me in the comments and I'll read it. But I mean, I'll just skip the song. What happened was that the people were just excited with the song, excited with Frodo. They liked it. Frodo now had all the attention of the room. Here's where he fucked up. He got so excited about whatever he was doing then that he jumped, who was going to do something. He fell on one of the waitress or whatever it was with some of the drinks by mistake, by accident. He slipped the ring on and he disappeared.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Everyone was just scared shitless because, of course, this ain't shit that happens every day. And I mean, I'll just read it to you. I'll just read that part to you. It says, he capered about on the table. And when he came a second time to the cow jumped over the moon part of the song, he leaped in the air much too vigorously, for he came down, bang, into a tray full of mugs, and slipped and rolled off the table with a crash, clatter, and bump. The audience all opened their mouth wide for laughter and stopped short in gaping silence, for the singer disappeared. He simply vanished, as if he had gone slap through the floor without leaving a hole. I mean, when I read that part, I knew he had. The best part of this chapter is this Strider character, because, you know, he talked to Strider before doing all the singing, right? And after he disappeared, he crawled to where Strider was sitting. He just lay there for a second, you know, to think about what just has happened. And this Strider character said, well, why did you do that? Worse than anything your friends could have said. You have put your foot in it. Or should I say finger? I mean, who the fuck is this guy? Is it Gandalf? Just please tell me if it's Gandalf, because he's trolling the shit out of Frodo, and he knows too much. He even knows Frodo's name. I don't know what you mean, said Frodo, annoyed and alarmed. Oh, yes, you do, answered Strider. I mean, it's hilarious. But we had better wait until the uproar had died down. Then, if you please, Mr. Baggins, I should like a quiet word with you. What about? Asked Frodo, ignoring the sudden use of his proper name. A matter of some importance to us both, answered Strider. You may hear something to your advantage. Well said. And then they just stopped talking. Everything was a mess. I mean, everyone just left the place. It was just too weird, too queer for their liking. Someone just vanished, and then Frodo just came out of where Strider was sitting, and he said he tried to make it look like as if nothing had happened, and he was just talking to Strider. Hey, I'm here. What are you talking about? I was just talking to Mr. Strider here. Of course, if you were the one that saw him just disappear, I mean, it's like people were saying, I know what I saw. He disappeared right there. Even if they were convinced that it was still weird. Someone disappeared out of thin air. Which begs the question that I've been making since I've been reading The Hobbit. How does magic works in this world? Because if these people are not used to someone just vanishing, well, they're not used to magic at all. Or they used to some magic, but not the magic of this ring. You know what I mean? Whatever. After everyone left, everyone was just, weirded out. He talked with Mr. Butterbur and said, look, I'm sorry for what happened. It won't happen again. It was an accident, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Butterbur said, very good, but before you go, I should like a word with you in private. Mr. Underhill, something had just come back to my mind that I ought to tell you. I hope that you will not take it amiss. When I've seen a thing or two, I'll come along to your room if you're willing. Certainly, said Frodo. Which, at this point, I don't know where is the dark figure that jumped the fence. I don't know if it's Mr. Strider or if it's something else that's lurking around. I don't know what's going on. Guys, that was the chapter. Let me say this. Before you go, let me say this quick. I really enjoyed this chapter. I mean, I even laughed, which I haven't laughed in... I don't know when was the last time I laughed in one of these books, either in The Hobbit or in this one. We're almost in half into the book. It's not that it's been boring, but it's been, just not funny. This Strider character just made the situation very funny for me. Guys, that was it. Next chapter is chapter 10, Strider. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll just see you in the next chapter. Bye.